Now, there's no doubt that the online course and coaching industry is changing, but I think that cognitive offloading is probably the biggest shift that we've seen in a very long time. And if you're a course creator or coach, you really need to be taking note because this change is happening so fast, much faster than I actually expected it to. I thought we had much, much longer. But basically, cognitive uploading is completely shifting the game. And the course industry is going to keep getting bigger and bigger, but how you create your courses, how you interact and teach and educate people is dramatically shifting. And not tomorrow, now. It is shifting right now. So if you don't know, cognitive offloading is basically where we offload tasks and memory to different tools. It kind of turns us into cyborgs a little bit. And this is nothing new. This has been happening for any type of education throughout history. Technology basically shifts the way that we learn. We saw it with things like the calculator. I don't know about you, but I can't really remember my times tables and so on. I calculate things in my head, or I just use a calculator. Where if you ask my dad, he can probably still remember his timetables and arithmetic and everything because he probably had to do it. He was using a different type of technology back then, and he wasn't using digital calculators so much. So my generation, digital calculators, and we just dumped that information. We no longer needed to retain that information. And GPS is another massive one. Now, I don't know if you know much about London, but the black cabs in London, they have to take an exam on a motorbike where they drive around the whole of London over and over so that they actually remember all of the roads. And that is how they basically had built-in GPSs in their heads. But now they're all using GPSs and they're basically losing that skill. We're losing that skill and that memory. Now, these might be sad things, and it might be sad that we're becoming less good at retaining certain types of information, but it is an opportunity for us to become more productive and dump our memory and our thinking into other tools so that we can free up space for other types of thinking and other types of processes moving forward. But it's basically about the memory and the processing, and we're dumping that into external tools. Now, essentially what's happening to us and with learning now, just like it has historically and will continue to happen over and over, AI, and especially AI chat, is doing this same thing to us. How we are learning with things like Claude, with things like ChatGPT, in a variety of different tools and all of the different setups that it's in now between agents and also just us chatting in general to it through voice and text and dictating and many different formats. It is shifting the way that we're learning because we're able to get instant answers, we're able to get interactive back and forth directly from it, and speaking is something that we're really, really enjoying. I'm seeing myself do it a lot more. I'm seeing other people do it a lot more, and it's just really time saving, and we get immediate feedback, so we're able to get instant interactive results based on the context of exactly what we're doing. And we can dump memory and tasks into it because we can actually get it to automate tasks, and we can actually get it to remember conversations so that we can come back to things later on and continue to sort of brainstorm into it. And this, as I said, is kind of making us cyborgs. Now, mobile phones were probably the most recent thing that did this to us. We had the internet, we had mobile phones, we had social media. We could type things into Google and just automatically get that information back. But the way that it's working now is that we are essentially using Google less. And if we are Googling, we're probably reading the Gemini AI at the top, and we're giving a lot longer questions in the way that we type. So it's not just a simple question, the best this or the best that. It's bigger, more context, because we know the AI is going to work through it, and then it's going to offer recommendations based on that. And you can see the shift on social media, especially on platforms when it comes to education like YouTube as well. The how-to part is going down. If it's something that you can get a quick answer from in terms of YouTube and in terms of something that you want to know, if you can get a quick answer, you'd rather not watch a 10 to 15 minute video on YouTube. You're going to type it into Grok, or you're going to type it into ChatGPT or Claude, and you're going to get an answer relatively quickly. Now, you might want to double check that. Maybe it will recommend videos for you to go deeper on, and maybe that will be the direction that you're heading in. But we're seeing this generally decline. So we're having to create content around experience, knowledge, wisdom, results, and looking at it from a different angle, things that the AI can't necessarily help you with within the how-to part. But we are having to shift the type of content that we're creating. So we're seeing it on social media, and we're seeing it on platforms especially like YouTube, all around the education space. So entertainment is on the rise. That's not going anywhere anytime soon. But as educators, we need to shift this. And we also need to shift in the way that we're teaching our courses and programs, because people still want guidance, but they want immediate and context-driven results and information. And they don't want to store it in their heads any longer. They no longer want to keep that information. Just like me with the sort of maths and using a calculator, you look at these things in school and you think, do I really need to know that? And I think it's useful to know it, but the way that it goes, people want things fast and quickly. And as things are moving so quickly these days, people don't necessarily want to become the expert anymore. And I've noticed that in courses and programs, we're seeing lots of people, myself included, saying that online courses alone don't work anymore. And I think they can, but generally they don't in the current format, because people want more than just information, because information is cheap and they can get that readily and easily. But also when you do a program, even if you've combined it with, say, group calls and other types of support, linear learning has shifted. People typically used to, watch one module, watch some videos, then execute on what they were actually doing, and then continue to move through the program in a linear way, where you watch and then you execute, and then you move down to the next stage and you watch and educate, and maybe you go through the course a couple of times. And now people may still do this, but people tend to jump around more now, and they want context based on what they're actually doing. Now, humans normally had to fill that context, and as AI has started to fill a lot of that void, it's actually starting to fill a lot of the human part of it as well. So now even offering more of the human part and more of the coaching, more of the support, more of the hands-on, although valuable, and people still do want that, they actually still now want immediate. They really want results and context as fast as possible, because AI is giving us that deeper level of support, deeper level of instant gratification. And as you know, in this world, people want things quickly. They want things now, and they want things when they want it. So think about your behavior currently. How are you learning things? Are you starting to dump into AI a lot? Are you asking AI more things? When you type things into Google, do you focus more on the AI at the top, or do you go down through the searches? Do you find yourself going onto YouTube as much and searching for videos? So think about your behavior as well, and chances are you'll realize that you've actually shifted your behavior. Maybe not 100%, but enough that we're seeing that decline happening in certain areas as it pulls away from that type of learning. And we're going to be doing and seeing more of this. So what do we do? What do we do moving forward? Well, we have to accept that people don't want to become necessarily the expert anymore. They don't necessarily want to become you. They don't necessarily want to learn all of that information, because they're seeing how information is becoming cheap. It's moving so fast. There's no point in storing and understanding that. It's actually more valuable to be more nimble and understand many different things on a jack of all trade is actually becoming more useful than actually becoming a deep down specialist. Now, I still think it's key to be a specialist in certain areas. Don't quote me on that. But what I'm saying is basically the ability to move quickly and learn quickly is becoming more useful. And they care more about the result. So you've got to understand what they're learning. Is it an outcome that they want? In which case, they just want the information as and when they need it to get the desired result. So it depends who you're selling to, what you're selling. So if I'm trying to lose weight, I care about the result. Maybe I don't care about learning about fitness. Not interested. So therefore, just give me the information I need as and when I need it to get that desired result. In our community, I'm starting to use AI to create hybrid solutions to this as well. So what people want and how we're going to deliver that has to change. So they want information as and when they need it. So this, I think, is one of the key shifts that we need to be realizing. If I want information as and when I need it, not necessarily watching a full video, making notes and trying to understand it, I want it as I go through a step. I want the information and I want it in a context that's relevant to me. And people are also starting to become comfortable not being the expert and not necessarily knowing or storing that information. And they want more interactive, because once you can speak to a tool and get a direct response, it's very hard to start going back to watching a video and having or reading a book. People don't read books. The format's changing. How we're learning is shifting. and they don't want to wait. And I think this is a key thing as well. Okay, they don't want to wait to get a response. Again, as and when I want it now, instant gratification. So, okay, this has made low ticket harder because that's made courses cheaper. And so that obviously makes it harder to sell a cheap low ticket course. And that's why we're seeing the decline of low ticket courses, because the value of going through a course without any type of direct feedback or extra support, people just don't see the value in it as much. And for that reason, it's actually pushed high ticket to potentially, in many cases, be a better, faster, easier option for coaches and course creators to make more money. Now, that's not to say that low ticket can't work, but I think you need to create some type of interactive space and perhaps a hybrid space that's going to have AI in it as well. But I'm also seeing that community fixes a lot of this. Not all of it. I think we're going to need a hybrid model. But the community model itself gives you elements of that direct feedback. It gives you a support group and a system, an additional coaching and interaction that you can get, which is similar to the interaction that we get with AI as well. So I think courses and coaching programs need to be very much community driven and community first. So that's why I'm very bullish on community platforms like Skool and using these as well. And again, you can get access to our free community, which I'll link to in the video description, where I give you more training on how to build your very own community first course or coaching program as a coach or creator. And we'll also introduce you to our AI that's inside, and it's going to guide you through the process of understanding the best model for you, your niche angle, validating your offer, and so on. But it's this hybrid model that we are potentially starting to do and see that I think is probably what we need to be focusing on. A hybrid learning, something with GPTs, simple chat agents, and then the community environment itself where you can get peer-to-peer support and feedback. You can get questions answered. You can still have group calls and hop on things as you need additional support, but it's more of an interactive experience. And then a form of AI that will plug into your course itself to be able to give them instant feedback and help generate and do tasks for them throughout that learning process to make things faster, easier, and much more painless. So as coaches and course creators, this is what I think we really need to be thinking about. Cognitive offloading is dramatically changing the way that people are learning, and it's only going to accelerate across the next year. So again, if you would like more help building a community-first system, I will link to our free group in the video description. Otherwise, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. All right, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.